Thank you, Jean. Beautiful. It's really wonderful to be here. And I think this would be the first time I've ever, physically been in Vancouver and shared any Dhamma. So it's like for me, it's this full circle. Last night I went to visit Karen Lowry, who is a community Dharma leader in the Kitsilano area with the BC IMS. And that was the sitting group that I first went to when I first started practicing. And so that was really, really special. There was no sitting group because it was Halloween. So I just visited with Karen Lowry. In thinking about what to share, I want to share the thing that is right now for me the most important thing in my own practice. And that is this whole idea of wise attention and of really figuring out the very basic of the Buddha's teaching, that really that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I mean, the Buddha is very, very, very much teaching us that the beauty is not in the object inherently. The beauty is in the way that we attend to it and the attention that we bring, and that we have this kind of possibility and this kind of potential. This is, I think that when we fully take this on board and then start to really practice it minute by minute, especially in our formal practice, with the way that we are attending to the phenomena that is arising in our meditation practice, when we really learn how to do this, I think this is when the path really opens up. And I've of course been listening quite a bit to Ajahn Brahm. To me, he's the monk that has this really figured out and truly embodies it. This deep, deep contentment that he takes the second factor of the Eightfold Noble Path, this right intention, and he actually likes to translate it as right motivation. Heard him talk about intention has a little bit of an idea of result sort of inherent in it. Like, I'm intending to help. I'm intending to deepen my meditation. There's a little bit of a suggestion of where you're going to. So he likes to translate it as right motivation because he thinks that that's very much about just where you're starting from, and that it's easier to have complete letting go of expectations and any kind of concern or attachment to the result. So but what's very beautiful is he translates. He's got a shorthand, and if any of you have listened to him, his shorthand for right motivation, the second factor in the Eightfold Noble Path, where the Buddha is talking about having this right thought, this right motivation of non-greed and non-ill will and non-cruelty. Ajahn Brahm likes to do this shorthand of make peace, be kind, be gentle. Make peace, be kind, be gentle. And he really talks about this in terms of every second that we are meditating, and every second that we are attending to our meditation object, that we're just making peace. there's this full, deep acceptance for however it is right now in this moment. And that this is like right effort, this is right attitude to bring the beautiful, that we when we start to truly delight in the meditation object, truly delight in the opportunity to meditate, when we delight in it, this is when it becomes delightful, and a lot of times we just get it backwards. We're waiting for it to get delightful because then we'll delight in it. And this is not the way it works. And people on the path are thinking, when my meditation deepens, then I'll be happy. It turns out if you're happy, then your meditation will deepen. We just get it backwards. This is really interesting, like, and the end of so many of the suttas, that's basically what the person's saying. Oh my gosh, magnificent, magnificent Master Gotama, it's like you've turned upright that which was upside down. It's not like we got just a little bit off. No, we get things absolutely backwards, absolutely upside down. This idea of bringing beauty, even to the things that are actually quite ugly, like our own defilements, to just learn to deeply accept them, deeply accept this moment, and care for them. This is when things will really settle and really open up and really be different. It's very challenging. I have a wonderful, wonderful meditation teacher that I first met about 1.5 years ago. Her name is Beth Upton. I've had the great opportunity of having 3 longer retreats with her. She often will offer 30-day retreats. And she was a Sile for 10 years, and she trained in the Pao tradition. And she's now returned to lay life for about the last 5 years. But I remember going into interview with her and saying, oh my gosh, I just have brought all of my worldly conditioning into my meditation. And she said, like, of course you have. I mean, this is what we do. And so it's just like bit by bit by bit, we start to engage with our meditation object in a really different way than we've engaged with everything in our lives, where we've brought a lot of doing and a lot of craving and a lot of delusion to everything that we've done, because this is our predicament. But slowly, as we meditate, we can start to bring a very different energy into the meditation. Ajahn Brahm talks about approaching his meditation as dana, and as he bows, his 3 bows to the Buddha in preparing the Buddha and the Dhamma and the Sangha, in preparation for meditation, he often will think, this is my dana. I'm not coming to meditation to get, I'm coming to meditation to give. This is my dana, and I will give this next, period of time. I'll give my time, I'll give my energy, I'll give my love, I will give my acceptance. I will give. This will be my dana to the Buddha, out of deep, deep gratitude for these precious teachings. And it's very, very wise, very beautiful. Truly, truly, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I want to read a passage from the Itivuttaka. It's not a book that we hear from that much. This is in the minor collection, not the long discourses, not the middle length discourses, not the connected discourses, not the numerical discourses, but the minor collection. It's so interesting to me that it's called the minor collection because there's the Mangala Sutta is there, the Metta Sutta is there, the Dhammapada is there, the Sutta Nipada is there, and the Udana is there. It seems kind of major to me, but it's the minor collection. And the Iti-Buddhika, very, very special book in the canon. Iti-Buddhika actually means, this is what I heard. And this is remembered by a woman. So much of the canon has been brought to us through the memory and the effort and the work and the precision of Ananda. But this book has actually been brought to us from a woman. It was remembered by Kujutar. And Kujutar was a maidservant of the queen of Kosambi. And the maidservant of the queen of Kosambi had the ability to go out from the palace and hear the teachings of the Buddha, where all the royal women didn't have that flexibility. They didn't have that opportunity. So Kujutar would go and listen to the Buddha and hear the teachings and then bring the teachings back to the queen and all of her retinue, the harem probably. And so it's a book, it's organized the same as the numerical discourses, but it only goes up to 4. So there's the book of ones, book of twos, book of threes, book of fours. And this is from the book of ones in the Iti-Buddhika. And Iti-Buddhika, because Kujatara always began every sutta with, this is what I heard the Buddha say, to make it clear that it wasn't her, it was what she heard the Buddha say. So this was said by the Blessed One, thus I heard, and in the Book of Ones. And this is Iti-Buddhika 1:16, Sutta 16. And I'm going to change the word bhikkhus to meditators so that it lands more personally. Meditators, in regard to internal factors, Buddha speaking, I do not perceive another single factor so helpful as wise attention. For a meditator who is a learner, that's all of us, not an arahant, still in training, still a learner. For a meditator who is a learner, who has not attained perfection, but lives aspiring for the supreme security from bondage. Meditators. A meditator who wisely attends, abandons what is unwholesome, and develops what is wholesome. For a meditator who is a learner, there is no other thing so helpful for reaching the highest goal as the factor of wise attention. Wisely striving, a meditator may attain the destruction of all suffering. And truly, this wise attention is coming into relationship with our meditation object in such a different way than all the ways that we've done anything in our life. To come to meditation with a real emphasis on non-greed and non-ill will and deep acceptance. I listened to a talk thinking about this by Ajahn Brahm yesterday. And he was talking about, it was during the rains retreat. So he was talking to them directly to the monks, to the monks at Bodhinyana, and he says, so you sit down and you just have this attitude of really deep acceptance and care and making peace, being kind, being gentle. And he sort of fleshes it out. So you sit down and you're thinking a lot. And you think, and he said you're very, this quality of wise attention is very much countering the negative. This is our challenge, and the negative is imbued with craving. So you sit down and you're meditating and you're thinking a lot. And Ajahn said, but you can think about this. At least I'm thinking about the Dhamma. And then he said, and if you're not thinking about the Dhamma, well, at least, he's just showing how you can somehow counter the negative and bring in the positive. At least I'm not thinking about disrobing, and then he said, if you're thinking about disrobing, you think, then, the positive could be, well, at least I'm not thinking about disrobing today. It was just a really beautiful example of really being determined and skillful and even playful, that you bring a different energy. This is one of the challenges, when we sit down and then we face our mind, and maybe there are some hindrances there, and it's just kind of going all over the place. There's this fact, and it's in the suttas, this fact of momentum and this fact of inertia, so that the challenge is when there's upset in the mind, it's upsetting. Like this is the tendency, if there's ill will in the mind, it takes a real skill and a real a deep understanding of the need to somehow meet this upset, meet this ill will with a different energy. And the tendency, the conditioning is when there's aversion in the mind, it often we meet it with more aversion. This is, and then nothing really does change that much or settle down that much, because we just end up kind of in this flow of whatever the flavor is. Then we just get more of it. So I think that this is the real power of wise attention, that we're somehow meeting something in the mind that doesn't initially seem beautiful, or maybe feels somewhat negative, that we meet it with wise attention. It means that we meet it with a very different energy. We meet it with love. You think about a parent that's working with a child that's having a tantrum, and the mind sometimes is having a tantrum. And what is really needed is for the parent to hopefully dig down and have the resources that they can meet the sometimes very, very challenging energy of a young child that's dysregulated, with groundedness and care and attunement. And it's very, very, very beautiful and powerful when we can start doing this in our meditation. And a mental factor that if we start to value it more, that can be our best friend on approaching our meditation in this way is the mental factor of contentment. And it's beautiful in the suttas how much the Buddha talks about contentment and talks about it as a tremendous precursor to meditation. You know, so many suttas describing the gradual training, which really the gradual training is just a lived version, a lived out, fleshed out version of the Eightfold Noble Path. But in the suttas, the gradual training accounts for, you know, it's in a third of the suttas in the Majjhima Nikaya. It's in half the suttas in the Digha Nikaya are describing the gradual training. It's in many, many suttas in the Samyutta and the Anguttara. And in the gradual training, and, you know, it always starts with a Tathagata arises in the world, and then a human being comes in contact with either the Buddha or the Buddha's disciples or the Buddha's teachings and has a faith response and then makes a responsive commitment and then starts to make changes in their life and to live a life that has ethics and sila, morality as a rudder. And then the next part, the next response, the next quality to be mentioned and described and needing to be developed on this gradual training is contentment. And the Buddha describes it as the secret to contentment is having fewness of wishes. And the secret of the reason contentment is so valuable is that it is a counter, an antidote for both craving and aversion. You know, contentment, craving inherently has this sense of lack. You know, there's something else needed, something more needed. And contentment is the opposite. Contentment is a sense of complete, of full. And it's a very beautiful part of the Buddha's teachings, this idea of good enough. And I will say that this is one place where I do feel like the monastic form is particularly helpful in developing, that has the potential for developing contentment, because you do, you know, give up control of what you're going to eat and what you're going to wear, and so you just need to start being content with what you're eating and what you're wearing. You don't have as much to say, you know, and it's good. It helps. But in lay life, you just make a determination that I'll start to deeply value contentment and start to practice it. You know, content. I'm content here in this traffic. It's okay. I'm warm. I'm dry. You know, I live in a country where I have tremendous freedoms. You turn the mind to what is working, what is well. Beautiful practice, and you know, contentment and wise attention are they're Siamese twins. They so go together. The more that we're content, the more wisely we will be attending to whatever phenomena is arising, and it will bring. It's like an ointment. It's like a salve. You know, it's like a balm. It settles the craving. It settles the aversion. Good enough. It's such a beautiful, mind state. With a tremendous amount of peace in it and stillness. And then ultimately, you know, if we're truly content with the meditation just the way it is. This is then we can hang out there for longer and longer, and not need it to be any different. And when you start really not needing things to be different, there's so much peace there. So there, and then you start to realize how much suffering there is in craving. And it gives the mind a taste. You don't need to be in jhana to have a taste of this. You just need to be in contentment. And this is really accessible for all of us, even in a busy lay life, to be literally practicing contentment with each in and out breath. That this is our wise attention. And this is really beautiful, good meditation. Even if the mind is all over the place, then you relax and think about the toddler in the supermarket that's having a tantrum, and think about what would be the wisest, most skillful way for the attuned parent to be responding, and do that. That's really good meditation. And that is what we can do. It is not what's happening. It's how we're attending to it. That's the meditation, which is so great, because then it doesn't matter if there's a lot of hindrances. If we attend to them wisely, then that's really, really good practice. It's very, very powerful. And this, to me, this is the secret, the magic of what the Buddha is teaching. And the Buddha even goes as far as to say many, many times in the Anguttara Nikaya that it's a tremendous blessing for a mendicant if he or she gets to hear talk about fewness of wishes alive. Like even hearing, like me talking about it right now, this is a blessing. And then this is something that we can be doing for one another. How's your practice? How's contentment going in your life? And how about this fewness of wishes? And it is very beautiful. There's a progression in the path where when we start to really value things, we start to really value contentment, value fewness of wishes, value patience, and see it as like gold, then this is a start. This is a start for the mind to incline there more often, to hang out there more, and it just becomes a virtuous cycle. Really, really, really beautiful. Yeah, contentment, wise attention, contentment. I have 2 grandchildren, and about a year ago, almost a year ago, I was there. They live in Ottawa, and I was there. It was just before I moved to Canmore, and it was my last morning with them, and I was getting them breakfast, and they had these plastic bowls with cereal in them, and then they both wanted a drink of water. The dishes hadn't got done, so I had to take these plastic cups out of the dishwasher, and I'm washing them, and I give my granddaughter her water, and it just happened that it was in a pink cup, and she had a pink bowl. And so then my grandson, who's 2 years older, who's 6 at the time, he had a gray bowl, and he goes, "I want a gray cup. So it matches my bowl like Odessa." And I was like, I had washed a white cup. So I was like, well, Ivan, you're getting a white cup, and all this whining and fussing, and it's remarkable. It's such a blessing to be around small children and just see the power of craving that we come into this life with. and to realize we're not far away from that. We've just sort of civilized it all, but we're just like that inside, you know. And honestly, it's just remarkable that they can want the cup to match the bowl. Like they'll want anything, because there's just this want, looking for something to land on. And we're the same. Just, you know, wanting, I want that. You know, and I mean, the culture we live in knows it. The advertising business knows this. You know, we just have this big, you know, bullseye on our foreheads. Low battery. So it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Low battery mode. Okay, great. Anyway, Ivan has a Buddhist nun as a grandmother, so he got a little bit of a talking to. But before I said anything, his sister, who was 3 at the time, just says, you don't always get what you want. That's just how life works. He's 3, you know. Yeah, we don't always get what we want. And yeah, just to see that wanting is the problem, craving is the problem. And, you know, wise attention, steering the mind away from the negative and finding the beauty, and working on perceptions of the beauty, even the beauty of our sometimes not very focused meditation, but just making peace, being kind, being gentle. That already is good meditation. This is good practice. So yeah, contentment, wise attention, these are our best friends for countering this deep, powerful force of craving that lives in all of our minds. And then just the flip side of it, aversion. And there's a wonderful song by Sheryl Crow, Soak Up the Sun. And there's a line in the song, it's not getting what you want, it's wanting what you've got. This is contentment. And this is what we can be practicing minute by minute throughout the day. And if we are, we're on the path. We're practicing the Buddha's teachings. And then the really deep secret of contentment, and this wise attention, as it grows, this actually is the secret. This is what keeps the mind in the present moment. When there's deep contentment with this in-breath, this out-breath doesn't need to be any different. Nothing needs to be different. The body doesn't need to be different. Just this deep acceptance, contentment. Then this is what keeps the mind with the meditation object. This is what keeps the mind in the present moment. Because it's you know, it's some kind of discontentment that has the mind running forward into planning, or running back into ruminating and remembering and remorse. And this is so as we cultivate more and more, you know, being kind, being gentle, making peace, this wise attention, and this deep contentment, just this breath, then the mind will stay with the meditation object more naturally, more easily, because everything's fine just the way it is, good enough. And this is really good practice. Yeah. So that's really what I'm working with and just enjoying so much in my own practice, and really wanted to share with everyone today. Yeah. And we have lots of time. Oh no, we don't.
We have time.
Okay, sorry, I talked too long. I got confused.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Anodami.
Right. But certainly would like to, if anyone wants to ask any questions or anything. Yes, please, Kathy.
Yeah, I find so your talk was really, I felt like it was for me tonight because it certainly hit home. I find the body sometimes is the issue because it gets way ahead of the mind. And once the mind can be settling down, but the body's still raging, I guess is the word, because that's how my body's been. I've had some anger over an issue that I was proliferating about, and yeah, my body's taken its time, and it'll affect me into sleep. And I've been going even, for more walks and trying to be more physical to work it off, that kind of thing, when I get in those in that feeling. So I just wondered if you had any suggestions or wise words about how I can further work on the body part of the grasping and and that analogy of the child having a tantrum is so perfect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we really, really want to be the loving, caring parent to it. Yeah, sometimes we respond with similar energy, and a lot of I know for myself in my own meditation, for a time with my mind and my body, it was kind of like, when you shape up, then I'll love you, and this is just absolutely backwards. So, Kathy, the first thing is that anything that we think or feel, it has a correlate in the body. But the mind, it's very good, the observation that you have, because it's true. The mind moves faster than the body. So that's why if we get angry, it will stay in the body longer than it stays in the mind, because the body just it's coarser and slower than the mind. And but it's good that you've observed that and you've seen that. So, and it's good. You're going for more walks, yeah. And so you're just experiencing some restlessness in the body from a residue of the activity of the mind. And yeah, I think just a lot of understanding and acceptance. And sometimes we can even give some metta to our body, that our bodies at times have held things for us for a long time that we weren't yet able to fully be with or digest. So you could try offering a lot of metta to the raging and to the restlessness, and certainly understanding and acceptance. Yeah, and you might try meditating in different positions. When things are really activated in my body, sometimes I will meditate lying on my stomach. And I mean, I don't do it very often. Well, I do it quite often, actually. But yeah. Beth Upton, she has meditators in all kinds of positions. Yeah, we can try different things. Definitely.
Thank you. I like, even during your meditation, I tried the metta, and sometimes I feel like the metta is like you're taking a pill. It's not working. So then what I do is I just go to each, like I was feeling the body, like the vibration, tightness, the like all those physical feelings. I just kept labeling them, and it helped somewhat. Actually, it helped more than the metta. So and then remembering, this isn't me, this isn't mine, this is I'm taking this personally, this isn't personal. So but it takes a lot. Like I think I have to do it for the rest of the night. I don't want to take up more of your time from other people. Thank you.
Great. Beautiful, Kathy. Yeah. Anyone else in here too? Yes.
To achieve contentment is it letting go of, like what you were saying too, it's wanting what you have.
Yeah.
How much is metta? How much, if any, does metta play into that to help with the process?
I think as much as I think that's individual. I think for some people, metta is like, Beth Upton defines metta as acceptance. So I think for some people, it's like maybe almost 100%, lots and lots of metta. And Beth Upton also talks about metta for parts. Like, I'm not one thing. She's got a, if you can go to her website, and then if you scroll down, she's got a lot of very, very short YouTube, a lot. Like, they're 5 minutes, 6 minutes long. And she's got beautiful YouTubes about metta, and she talks about metta for parts. Like, she said, so one way in to practicing metta for yourself is to practice for the parts of you that you really like already really accept, like the part of you that's generous, the part of you that's organized, the part of you that's reliable. And you can do that. You can start with the parts of you that you already really like, value and feel good about. And then you can move to, and then the part of you that's not reliable, the part of you that's lazy, the part of you that's a bit selfish, the part of you that's sad. Like, we're not one thing. And this is beautiful, because then you can expand your deep acceptance of yourself. You can push the envelope where and then that's beautiful, because then you start to more fully, deeply accept the weaknesses and the feelings of other people, And I think with contentment, Connie, it is like this good enough, um, to counter this greed and this craving, to counter perfectionism that we've all been deeply conditioned with. I heard better is the enemy of done. Yeah, good enough, done. Yeah, no, those are two words I seriously use a lot. Good enough. Yeah. Yeah. Does that answer your question? Great.
Yeah, thank you.
Great. Yeah. Yeah. Anybody else? Anne, was that a hand? No, I think she's just typing or something. Okay. Oh, Roberta. You're muted, Roberta.
Sorry, I forgot.
Roberta, I know you, don't I? We've met, haven't we?
Well, if you said that you used to meditate with Karen Lowry, I used to meditate with her in her house for years. Were you-
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely I've met you.
Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
maybe you look different, of course, without your hair.
Yeah.
So I don't remember you, but I'll
I
take
was
your.
Robin Church.
Okay. Vaguely. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah. Cool. Neat.
okay.
So what was I going to ask you? Oh, I have a very active mind.
Mhm.
It goes all over the place. It's really fast. And I was just wondering if you had any suggestions. I know in the past I've asked teachers and they go, well, you could try labeling, but sometimes it moves so quick, I can't even keep up with the labeling. Do you know what I mean? Like it's going into that.
Mhm.
And I tend to process partly of supposedly from a psychological perspective is the way my brain's wired is I often download like a computer what's happened to me the day before, say at work, if it's particularly intense and a lot's happened. I'll either download it that night, which keeps me from falling asleep, or the next day I'm just ruminating, just processing what all happened.
Mhm.
So in meditation, often that comes up a lot and it's just moving so fast. So do you have any suggestions how one might be able to work with that? Or
What's your meditation object?
my breath? Yeah. And
So-
sometimes if there's a lot, I used to do it all here and I'm trying to maybe be a little more, I find that I don't stay with it as well if I do my stomach, because I
Mhm.
tend to be a mouth breather.
Mhm.
So I kind of alternate between the stomach and the nose.
Mhm.
Is that what you mean by object?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because whatever we pay attention to, we get more of. So I think what I think Beth Upton would instruct is that there's something in meditate, when the mind is quite active, and a lot of times it's active because of just what you described, Roberta. It was like an intense day at work and there's been a lot of impact. And then there's this reverberation in the system. But when you're meditating, as much as possible, you want to be with your meditation object. And so what I think Beth Upton would instruct is that the mind is quite active. And so she would consider that quite coarse. So you want to make the meditation object quite coarse and quite obvious to the mind. And the breath is quite subtle. It can be. So either you can make the breath more coarse, and you could do that at the beginning of the meditation, like by taking long breaths, that are really obvious to the mind. You want to give the mind clear instructions. Okay, sweetheart, we're about to meditate. And so as much as possible, we're going to want to just kind of chill and be with our meditation object. And then you could make the breath quite obvious to the mind. And Beth's a huge proponent of counting. Ajahn Brahm does a counting method that I've used and I found really, really helpful, because then sometimes with counting, then you can even just get into rote. But Ajahn Brahm has people count up to 9. So in breath 1, out breath 1, in breath 2, out breath 2, all the way up to 9. And then the next time up to 8. And then the next time up to 7. And it gives the mind stuff to do. Then up to 6, up to 5, up to 4, up to 3, up to 2, and then just 1. And then do it again. You could try mantras, because that might be really calming for your mind. And you could play, you know, like peace when you breathe in and calm when you breathe out, or whatever. Love, you know, gentle, whatever. Just play with words. You could try that, but you don't want to be processing when you're meditating, because that's not meditating, that's processing. So, Roberta, you can even have all that stuff going on in the background. Doesn't matter. It can be like, wah, 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 wah. And it might be that there's sort of this sort of, you know, foreground, background, and in the background there's just, it feels like the mind's sort of darting around, but hopefully, you know, there's a foreground of it's mostly with the breath, and try and ignore, you know, it's not suppression. You're okay. It's allowed to be over there. You're not hating it, you know. And if it runs in and yanks the attention, then, you know, you look over there, and then you instruct the mind to come back to the breath. You could try that.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
And
Like
just
the
keep
mantra is interesting, and it could be just a simple word like
any
breathe in,
word that,
peace.
yeah, whatever's really meaningful for you,
Okay.
you know, whatever. And you could even pose questions like, mind, what are you needing right now? It could be as simple as soothe, any word, you know, but what the words have tremendous power. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Ease. Yeah. Yeah. And you can just keep reminding the mind, yeah, I know, tough day, I know, and now we're meditating.
My mind often goes to planning. It's like it likes to be active. Like if I've had a quiet day, then a lot of planning comes in of things I want to get done. You know, and some of them are important things, you know, that I've forgotten to do, like I don't know, some chore or something. But it seems it's the kind of mind I have. I call it monkey brain, but it likes to be active. And I, instead of, you know, fighting it, I do metta, and I do love metta a lot. And I say, yeah, this is the way it is right now. But I just wondered if there was some more technical ways that I could be working.
Yeah,
with it.
the technical thing is to make the meditation object a little bit more coarse, a little bit more obvious to the mind, that it's a little bit easier for the mind to find it and stay with it and be with it. And the clear instructions to the mind. Planning, yeah. But sweetie, we're meditating right now. Yeah. It's kind of like, you know, interrupting. No, you're trying to have a conversation with the meditation object, and the mind keeps interrupting. Later, sweetheart. And you're right. We need to do that chore. Good for you that you remembered. And now we're meditating. Just like really kind, but clear. Yeah. Okay. I probably we should stop. Like, yeah, I think we should stop. We're 1:45, and I'm sorry I went on a bit long. Yeah.
No apologies needed. We're so grateful to have Ayya here in person and not in person. Sharing the Dhamma with us. Thank you so much. And thank you, Connie, for hosting us here in person so that this could be Ayya's first in Vancouver.
Yeah, really cool. Full circle. Yeah. So very, very quickly, let's just share the merits of our practice for the benefit of all beings, named and unnamed. Yeah. Right. Okay. Lovely to see you all.